Is this thing working? What is happening, everybody? All right, normally I don't do 2 live shows this close together, but it's a bit of a special occasion, and I think you would agree. We are now going to be talking about GT500. This is going to be GT500 chat tonight. So let's talk about this thing. First of all, 760 horsepower, 625 pound-feet of torque. I tell you something, that sounds somewhat impressive, but so far as I can tell, I'm really not diving in bed with this thing just yet. Mopar Man's checking in, Dr. Div's checking in. I'm going to get to some of the content or some of the comments. I'm just going to keep rolling with some thoughts here. So I'll get to the comments here in just a little bit, but I kind of want to do a bit of a hybrid. This is going to be a video and it's going to be a live show kind of at the same time. I know that's a bit redundant, but anyway, let's get jumping back into this thing. 760 horsepower, 625 pound-feet of torque, and so far as we can tell, there's been no mention of the weight of that car. And that's kind of an interesting thing to me. That's a very important aspect to this car. What does it weigh? Because so far as I can tell, the rumors have been chasing this thing around at about 4,200 odd pounds. Now, that is not a lightweight car by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it's, if we're talking about a 4,200 pound car, I got one of those sitting right behind me, and everybody calls these things boats and heavy and fat pigs and swine, and basically the mechanical embodiment of that fat trucker chick on the mud flap as opposed to the one that looks like a Barbie doll. Well, I tell you what, this thick chick can hike up her skirt and get the job done. Problem is I don't see the Mustang doing it. So I want to kind of break that thing down a little bit, give you guys what my thoughts are on that car, and really what do you think as the audience, what do you guys think it will basically lend itself to in terms of a driving experience, and what I think the thing's going to end up actually acting like. So first of all, let's take this thing and break it down. The car isn't that far removed from any of the S550 platforms, so because of that, you're not going to see too much of a driving dynamic difference in terms of geometry and things like that. The car is not that different. What is different, though, is that it's got a 5.2 liter. It's been back and forth whether or not it's going to be a split plane, but a la the GT350. However, it is basically a positive displacement supercharged setup. It seems familiar, right? They've been doing that with GT500s forever, which is fantastic. The problem with that is now you're sticking a ton of weight right over your front axle. That means this car is not going to handle that great. Same argument that people make for Hellcats, and one of the big arguments for the GT350. Again, one of my all-time favorite cars to drive. Getting back to that GT500 though, that argument gets shot down pretty quickly when you look at the ZL1. And I'm not saying that the GT500 won't be able to compete. What I am saying is that it won't be able to compete and win with enough of authority to make the car actually worth the wait. And by the way, this is what we got to wait for. This is what shows up to the party, 760 horsepower. Look, I'm going to stop right now and I want to get into a different portion of this topic. First of all is the magic of the Coyote engine. That thing loves boost. You can make a ton of power with that thing. 4 cams, variable cam, you can make the whatever camshaft profile you want with that setup because they are adjustable on intake and exhaust. Throw a blower on it and you're talking about a car that is basically it's a garden variety mid 9-second car with not that much breathed upon it. How in the world is it also that you could have the Roush Mustang? What's the Roush Mustang? Just Roush package that is warranted, by the way, by your dealership. What are those things selling for right now? I vividly remember those things getting sold for, $47,000, $48,000 for a base model with a Roush package and an automatic, mind you. That car chiming in right at 700 horsepower with a true 6-speed manual or with a true 10-speed automatic, something that will absolutely get that thing down a drag strip deep into the tens, if not into the low tens, and carry a factory warranty. And oh, by the way, come in at a price that is probably going to be, I don't know, 30 grand less than what that GT500 is going to sell for. In essence, you could buy a Roush package GT Mustang and then buy one of your buddies, just a regular Mustang, for the cost of that GT500. At least that's what we're being led to believe in terms of pricing. And that doesn't even take into account this carbon fiber package one that they're talking about releasing, with every type of carbon fiber amenity, contraption, whatever the case is, in terms of keeping that car being light. And then we're not even talking about the added tag from the dealerships, of which I have heard so far $25,000. If you want to buy a GT500, give me an extra 25 grand and you can be on my buying a car list. Are you kidding me? I mean, damn, dude, I get it. And I understand when Hellcats were new, they had added tags too, but ain't nobody spending 25 grand over. Okay, and then Demons, I understand that too. Go on any internet search site and you're going to find, yes, they are going for 120 grand, provided you can get somebody to buy that car. But the GT500, I can't see it. It just, it blows my mind. Not for a car that could get bested by a in-house, basically cottage industry hot rod like the Roush. That is going to walk all over a GT500 on a drag strip, because that's what we like to do on this channel. We're talking about drag racing normally. But let's talk about that GT350 for a minute and how it's going to stack up with the GT500 on a road course, because, hell, we ain't even talked about the transmission yet. Dual clutch, 7-speed. I cannot believe that. I mean, we knew that coming into this. All we've been doing is waiting for power numbers to come out. But we're talking about a dual clutch setup on a car that's going to weigh roughly 4,200 pounds, if that is actually the weight of that vehicle, with a weight bias that I still think is a bit suspect at this point. Is that car going to be able to get around a track, a closed course, faster than a GT350? It probably, but only because it's making more power, and also will probably be a bit more of a handful in the process. I'm not sure that it's going to be a better car than the GT350, and that is the biggest issue that I have with the GT500 coming into this chat. I am pissed that that thing does not have a proper manual transmission. I am annoyed that it doesn't have a true slush box style torque converter, if you will, automatic transmission. It's coming in with a DSG, a transmission that, my understanding of it, was properly developed for the Ford GT, a car that is significantly lighter, makes less power. Yeah, that's already a recipe for disaster. Couple that with the fact that DSGs in general are just known to not be that great of a transmission, and then throw 760 horsepower on it with a 4,200 pound car with 625 pound-feet of torque. Great if you're on stock tires. What happens when the guys decide they want to throw a drag pack on it and take it to the drag strip? And I said it on Demonology's show earlier today. The only drag race that thing is winning is hosted by RuPaul. That thing doesn't have a chance against something even as sedate as my Hellcat, or even as affordable as a Roush Mustang in the quarter mile. And don't tell me this thing is not a drag car. It is a freaking Mustang. Funny, I go to the drag strip and I see hordes of these things. Drag strips are infested with Mustangs, and you're going to tell me that the GT500 is not a drag car? What the hell are you talking about? It doesn't even make sense to make that statement, and it certainly doesn't make sense to put a car out into the world, call it a GT500, say that it's not a drag car, but still advertise, or at least talk about sub 11 second quarter mile times, and then expect nobody to ever throw a drag pack on the thing and take it to the drag strip. Oh, and by the way, the car does come with a line lock, right? What kind of crazy bizarro world is this? It's a freaking Mustang. It's a GT500. It is supposed to be setting the standard for American muscle car dominance. not coming out there wearing some cute little suit with a freaking pencil mustache trying to be, I don't know, something that it ain't. GT500, you're a freaking Mustang. You belong on a drag strip and you deserve better than what you've been given. And oh, yeah, let's get into the power numbers. Okay, check this out. 760 horsepower, not good enough. I'm sorry, and I'm sure there is plenty left on the table here. Makes you wonder if they neutered that power because they were afraid they were going to scatter that transmission to the four winds if somebody did put a drag pack on it. Can't believe they haven't put that thing through testing yet. But considering that the aftermarket, and again, when I'm saying aftermarket here, I'm talking about Roush, considering that can be a carb legal setup on a stock Mustang GT, makes 700 horsepower, and the rest of the aftermarket, whether it's VMP, Edelbrock, or whomever, putting their systems together and getting well over 750 horsepower to the flywheel, my ass, to the rear wheels in some cases. How is it that they only were able to manage 760 horsepower out of an engine that is known to be able to spin to the sky? It still blows my mind that that's what we've been given. And you might say, well, 760 horsepower is a lot. Not in this day and age it isn't. As a matter of fact, by internet, everything the internet would have you understand or believe, 760 horsepower isn't even going to get you through the door in some circles. So, yeah, I'm failing to see where this is a win, and I'm hoping that maybe some of you guys may be able to enlighten me a little bit. I was looking so forward to the GT500. You guys know that I am a GT500 fan. I have always loved GT500s. I love what it stood for when it was released. Okay, so what it stood for when it was released, first of all, Ford didn't have to make the thing. They had no competition from Dodge, no competition from Chevrolet. In 2007, when that thing was released, the Camaro didn't even exist. And here they go, sending this thing off into the world. 5.4 liter with a nice fat blower sitting on top of it. 500 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque. Basically, solid rear axle too, by the way. It was the reintroduction of the American muscle car. It is the last true, real American muscle car. Solid rear axle, big engine up front, iron block, heavy, doesn't handle for shit, goes like a bat out of hell in a straight line, with its only weakness being that it never was offered with an automatic transmission. But you know what? The driving experience and just the rawness of that car with a manual transmission more than makes up for that fact in certain circles. Carry that same theme all the way through to the Super Snakes, and then it gets chopped off. But at least we have an aluminum block 5.8 liters. Some would say not quite as good as the 5.4, but you know what? That does not matter. We're still talking about the GT500 as it stood then. The last bastion of American muscle, true American muscle. And then you're going to wheel out some freaking GT500 Euro trash transmission having. I tell you what, it looks the part, but you know what? You can put any wimp in a good-looking suit. It doesn't mean it's got game, and he ain't coming home with no hide. And I think that's exactly what we're looking at with this GT500. A whole lot of trousers with nothing in the pants to show for it. And that is a damn shame. It so needed, I mean, just the look of that thing, if it would have just had the manual transmission, automatic whatever, I mean, I can live without that. It's a GT500. Let's just ride tradition straight into the ground on this. It's something to keep my interest in that thing. But here we are talking about a GT500, and it's not in a positive light. So anyway, enough of that rant. Let me get to you guys and see where we're at real quick. Mopar Man 440, what's up, my brother? Strong supporter of the channel. Thank you, sir. Dr. Div P. Mason, how you doing this evening? Good to see you. Good to see you too, man. Dr. Div saying I wouldn't dive in bed with any Mustang. Symphonic saying, how the hell is that? She'll be going to get out of bed in the morning with that little torque. Yeah, well, you know, that's the thing. I mean, it's not like it's low on torque, but it is a 7-speed versus an 8-speed torque converter versus solenoid actuated clutches. You kind of see where I'm going with this. Mopar Man, what's the Demon? 770 torque? No, I think it's 675. but still more. And yeah, larger engine, but non-variable. Both sides of the equation: intake and exhaust, cam timing, only an adjustable cam. Doran saying, "What up, B? What up, Doran?" K Jonesy, hoods up, folks. Absolutely. B5 Hemi saying, "B freaking Mace, what up, brother? What up, B5?" Symphonics GT500 boring. C8's where the real hype's at. Yep. CJ Coleman chiming in. You said it all, B Mason. Yes, sir. Thank you. Slick S550 saying, "Law waiting on this." Dr. Div saying, "Yep, absolutely correct. Now I have a 600, 700 wheel horsepower truck, and it's going to be 1,000, 1,200 a month or two, which is nasty fast." CJ Coleman saying, "My buddy Alan would love to have that 2020 Shelby GT500 because to him it looks European." Yeah, well, see, and that's cool. I get that. It looks the part, right? I mean, this thing looks amazing. But again, I have a problem with it just not carrying the tradition. Is this the new tradition? Is this what we're supposed to expect? Damn, I almost wish it had some level of a hybrid system or something. I know, blasphemy, but just hear me out. That would have been a move in the right direction in terms of having technology. Ford's always been on the forefront of technology. They've always gotten away with getting more out of less. But so I guess you could say that in a roundabout way, it would be kind of getting more with less with that type of a drivetrain. But whatever, they went with a stupid transmission. Tubby Rama saying, "Hey, O'Brien, what's up, Tubby Rama?" Hang on a sec. Let me get this fan pointed in the right direction, man. I'm over here. I am glowing, sweating over here. Getting all worked up. All right. CJ saying, "I feel like Dodge's last true muscle that still exists." Well, I mean, yeah, in a way, you can say that. ZL1 might have something to say about that, but ZL1 you can get with a manual and an automatic. Challenger you get with a manual or automatic. You got no choices with the GT500, and that is really what is driving me the most nuts about that. So basically, the whole reason why I wanted to put this video together, get you guys involved with it a little bit too. I was going to do one of those My Thoughts type videos that I typically do, but thought it'd be more fun to interact with you guys on this. But I mean, guys, I've laid it out pretty well. I mean, I'm sorry, but at the end of a conversation about this car, there's a couple of things that jump out and just strike me, and not in a good way. Number one, waited way too long to have 760 horsepower when Dodge is already walking around on accident with 797 horsepower. You got the Hellcat rated at 707, less on paper, but I'll tell you something, they seem to punch higher than their weight class, at least in terms of getting the thing down a quarter mile. Ford is slow playing the GT500 with specifications. It took us forever. We're 6 months into the year. We're just now getting power numbers. What is going to be another 6 months until the thing is actually open for sale? Is that when we're going to find out how much this contraption is going to cost? The slow play of this thing is infuriating, and it's not building excitement, because every single time a specification is released, it's done in this lackluster way. It's almost like Ford is looking at this car and going, "Damn, man, we got beat to the punch by either the red eye or by something else." The C8, the new Corvette is coming out roughly at this time. Ford's marketing department has absolutely fumbled the ball and has tripped falling down upstairs with this car's release. We need to know the weight of this thing. We need to know the cost of this thing. What, if any, of the specifications have been released for this carbon package? I mean, I guess that's the GT500R a la the GT350R, something along those lines. But again, guys, I'm having, this is one of those types of situations where, and I think a lot of you guys may share the same sentiment. I was so worked up, so excited about the GT500. Here it is. the king is coming back to reclaim his throne. We find out it's got this weird ass transmission in it that doesn't really resonate with a lot of guys. Some folks are, kind of getting over that, going, oh, okay, cool. Well, you know what? It's got to have at least the same kind of power as the Red Eye. That's got to be the case, right? And then they come out and just come out with a 760 horsepower number. So, it's on one hand, I feel, here's the thing. I think I'm starting to kind of come to grips with this. I think I feel obligated to be excited about this car. I feel a certain call of duty almost to my Ford roots and my just love for American hot rods. I feel that yearning to be excited to want this car. But I feel like the magic is gone. The wool has been pulled away from my eyes, and what I'm seeing is this really good-looking package that is going to represent nothing but a phenomenal series of compromises. What those compromises are, I don't know, but so far, I would have to compromise to buy the car. Let me explain what I'm saying. I would have to compromise my trust in a transmission, in that DSG style, the dual clutch style anyway, the DSG style transmission. That's a leap of faith, and I am giving up the ability to shift gears myself, or to have an automatic, a true automatic, torque converter automatic here. But the big part of it is the ADATAG, the cost of the vehicle, what the car truly means in the marketplace is lessened by all of that. What it means to its competitors is lessened. It's no longer the intimidating factor that it used to be back in the day. And because of that, it loses that it factor. I don't want it anymore. I was asked if I would trade in my Hellcat for a GT500. And this is before the transmission was released. The specs of the car with it having the DSG transmission, whatever. I was asked if I would trade in my Hellcat for one, and I start to think about it. Now I was thinking, you know what? It's a GT500. I always talk about how much I love GT500s. I've always talked about how much I really kick myself for not having one. It's one of the very few cars that, of all the cars that I've ever been around, it's one of the few cars that it kind of, if you knew me from back in the day, you'd be shocked that I didn't own at least one. I was thinking, you know what, man? Let's give it a look. And then the transmission thing is released, and it's just like, oh my God, that's not feeling that. But then you're going to wait this long for horsepower that is significantly less than a Red Eye. And by the way, a car in the Red Eye that is not, if that 4,200 pound number is accurate, is not that much heavier than the GT500. Everybody says, it's heavier. Yeah, we're starting to freaking split hairs, guys. This one back here with the drag wheel and tire setup sitting exactly as it does right now, 4,250 pounds with about half a tank of gas. They're talking about the GT500 being just the other side of 4,200. I'm not sure if that's fully laden with fluids, but let's say it's 4,150 pounds at half a tank of gas, just for the sake of argument. Fine then, 100 pounds, and I got a car making 50 pounds more torque, 40 more horsepower, and oh yeah, by the way, has a torque converter style automatic with an extra gear thrown in there for good measure. What do you think it's going to do to the GT500? And we're talking about a Red Eye here. Yeah, the cost may be about the same, but then again, you've got ADATAG on the GT500. Boom, straight to the top of the list in terms of pricing for these cars. Now you might say, well, yeah, but it is still a GT500, and it will still always be a GT500, which means there's always some sucker that's going to pay big money for those cars. And SRT cars are not going to hold value like SVT cars. In other words, Shelby trumps Dodge, and I get that on the resale market. You know, you might be talking about a car that you can pick up if you can get it at sticker at, let's say, $76,000. Let's say you could get rid of it in, 2 years for, I don't know, $68,000, $69,000. Fantastic. Here's the problem with that. You're not going to be able to get one at sticker. Forget about it. Ain't going to happen. And if that $25,000 number, at least for the first set of cars, holds true, you're going to be shelling out a ton of money to be disappointed, in my opinion. And let's say you wait a year and you only shell out an extra 10 grand or 15 grand on an add tag. Well, damn, now we're talking about a car that is dangerously close to $100,000 that doesn't offer up the driving experience that a GT500 should properly deliver to you. I'm having a hard time being in love with a car, or at least I feel like I'm supposed to be in love with this car, and it's showing me all the wrong signs, man. So anyway, let me get off of that rant. Let me get back to you guys. CJ's asking me, what do I think of the monster truck Bigfoot? Not thinking about that right now. Mopar Man 440 saying, B Mason, I'm not sure if I lost my mind, but you may have proven it. I think the Demon is 847.70. You're probably right on that. I can't remember, but I know that it's more than the GT500. I don't know, man. It could be, on race gas, it probably is close to that. For some reason, I always default with the Demon to the 93 octane tune, which is 805 and I think 675, 685. Symphonic saying, I think the GT500 will be a great all-around car. We'll do good at the strip. We'll do even better on a road course, and maybe Ford will learn a lesson from this and make things right going forward. Man, we can only hope. Good point, too, by the way, and another lesson to take from that is, let's keep it positive as much as we can, right? I mean, we came into this with positive vibes, positive thoughts. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on a second. Mopar Man, damn, thank you very much. I appreciate that, my friend. Dude, thank you. $30, man. I appreciate it. Mopar Man saying, here's for you to grab a beer to help you get over Ford's weak car. It is weak with what's out right now. 5 years ago, it would have been amazing now. Blah. Anyhow, for you and your muscle car. Man, I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means more to me than you'll ever know, my friend. Thank you again. Great point, though. You're right. 5 years ago, it would have been market shattering. It would have been the absolute alpha 5 years ago. But here's the problem, and you know exactly where I'm going to go with this. When in 5 years ago. And here's the other thing. Mopar's done such a great job with the Hellcat, such a phenomenal job with the Red Eye, leaving the Demon out of the conversation just because it isn't made anymore. You've got the Red Eye, and keep in mind, guys, the Red Eye is not just wide body. You can get the Red Eye in the exact same trim as I have my Hellcat in, which is rear seat delete. Pick your seat. You can even get cloth seats now if you want. Basically, I think they have a lightweight package that's floating around in there somewhere. Anyway, long story short, you can get that Red Eye kitted out just like my car, and it's not going to weigh any more than my car with a drag pack. So, yeah, they've done an amazing job with that car. The only downside to it is the cost of the thing is just like, what? But anyway, doesn't matter. The car is worth every dime. And when you're putting something like that up against the GT500, the biggest problem that I can see with that whole scenario, well, it kind of works out like this. I don't want the GT500 to be a bad car. I want the GT500 to reclaim its place on top. Back in the supercharged hot rod segment that it had, well, didn't quite create. That goes to the Lightning. But, I want it back on top where it belongs. And it's not. And that's fine. You know what? The only reason why I wanted it on top is because when your competition is better than you, you rise to the occasion and you are then better than where you were before. At this rate, all we got to do is sit back, eat Cheetos, and have a good old time and just still keep cleaning that ass out, because I don't see any upside to modability, which is the next topic that I want to get into. Mopar Man, by the way, thank you so much, my friend. I truly appreciate that. Let me get back to my spot here. So here's the other deal, guys. Let's talk about modability for a second. You know, Ford's biggest asset is just how freaking awesome they are to make more power and to be able to extract more power out of that engine with either forced induction, E85 tuning for the NA guys. There is a laundry list of tried and true, very, very potent hot rod tricks you can do with those cars to set them apart from the competition. They always respond very well to mods. The GT500 will probably be in that same camp. I mean, it's probably only making around, at that displacement, those heads at maybe 12 pounds of boost, something like that, between 11 and 13 pounds of boost. I don't think it's going to be making as much as 14 to get to that power level, but anyway, getting back to it, hell, it might be making less, could be around 10 with the way that those heads flow. But anyway, getting to it, my only issue here is that I'm concerned that we're talking about a car that once you start modding it, every weak link is gonna go crazy with that car, and it's a GT500, so every weak link is strong money to fix, and that is a big issue for me. Now, the Mustang can't be that car. The GT500 was still robust back in the day too. Y'all got to remember, had a T56, a TR6060. We got a T56 right off the jump, and then went to the TR6060. But it still had the aggressive gear ratios in it. It was still fun to drive, real snappy. Again, modability was through the roof on those things. You could accidentally make close to 700 horsepower to the rear wheels with those cars, which was insane back in the day. Fast forward, 10 years, which, seems like a long time, but in car world, it really isn't. Well, at least it wasn't. Nowadays, every 5 years, there's some major, twist or shakeup, and especially nowadays in the horsepower wars. But I don't know, man. Again, 760 ain't going to get it done. And if you want more out of the car, you are taking a massive risk, because I can assure you, if that transmission that is fitted to that car blows up, goes south, fries a clutch, does whatever, yeah, you're looking at a major repair bill, and I can already see it. There's going to be guys that are going to be able to get into that tune, start screwing around with clutch actuation, and they're going to be frying clutches in those things, trying to get them to launch properly. You'll probably get, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 passes out of the thing, and then gush, nothing but smoke out of that clutch. The clutch is going to give up all of its smoke. Time to do a clutch replacement, and hopefully that's all you're replacing if you've thrown power at it. I don't know. Real skeptical at this point, especially if the weight is what it might be. Austin saying, I heard somewhere that the GT500 was going to have a second key, kind of like the Hellcat, that would bring the horsepower into the 800s. Now, they're not claiming it, and they are not advertising that right now. That might be something that's coming. That might be something that they'll pair up with a true manual TR6060, probably the same ones that come in the Vipers and the Hellcats. Maybe they're going to have an automatic that'll allow them to do that, which would be just, cool as a popsicle. But I'm telling you, it's not happening right now. Toby Rom is saying, we shall remember the GT500 as a car with the worst marketing ever. Ain't no Chevy like rock. Doran saying, man, if you look at people's numbers, you're crushing them on the 392 and the Hellcat. Do you just know these cars like the back of your hand, or are you just telling a driver across the board? Man, I appreciate the kind words on that, bro. I've been racing manual transmissions since the age of 15. So it's something that I've been around for a long time, primarily in Fords. So, I wouldn't say that I'm all that great. I'm just very well practiced. But I truly do appreciate the kind words. And yeah, over time, you do get kind of you do kind of get a knack for being able to drive these things and just adapting to the platform that you're driving. So It's not to say that I can hop in any manual transmission and just get the absolute best number out of it, but give me that car for about a week. Let me get some practice in the thing, and chances are I'm going to be right there in the hunt. And if I'm not at the top of the list, you'll have to get through me to get to the top of the list. That's typically the way that it's been. Symphonic saying, also I heard you have to keep your right pinky up in the air when you turn that little shift dial. No kidding, right? Little stripper Sadie's dial for the shifter. And yeah, I get it. The trucks have it too, but the truck is a truck. And that takes me to another point. Yeah, the little twisty dial shifter thing, it has its place, but not in that car. It has its place in a truck so you don't have the whole thing cluttered. My truck is a work truck, and I got crap flying around all inside of that thing. I don't want a console shifter. That gets in the way. Besides, I'd rather have the cup holders for the coffee that is absolutely necessary to fuel this machine in the mornings. And I don't want the little stalky thing because I don't want that. It's got a little knob and it works great. In a performance car, I want to feel connected to the machine somehow. I want a visceral experience when I drive that car. Nothing is as visceral of an experience or brings you together with the machine than a manual transmission. Automatic transmissions have a very strong romance in drag racing specifically. Boulevard bruiser, that type of mentality, that type of cruise night, that type of atmosphere and setting, automatics rule the roost on that. That has got a ton of tradition behind it. This new transmission has no transmission. This new transmission has no transmission. This new transmission has no tradition. That's what I'm trying to say. At least not here in the States, and especially not in that application, not in that platform, and not in this environment. Just getting back over to Mopar, man. Thank you very much, my friend. I truly appreciate it. Marcel saying, Venom kills demons. I bet. Yeah. So, yeah, that little comment. I don't even remember the guy's name that made the comment, but everybody remembers the comment that the guy made. And, yeah, he got told to STFU real quick because that's just a game that Ford knew that they were not going to be winning, if apparently even way back then. Toby Rom is saying, Venom kills demons, yes, on a circuit, but the demon would walk the GT500 in the quarter mile. The GT500 would get walked by this thing in the quarter mile, much less a demon. I've driven them both, and I can tell you that, yeah, at the end of a quarter mile, the demon will go faster than my Hellcat. But then again, my Hellcat stock, and so is the demon. But here's the twist. Let's talk about a Hellcat for a minute. Sure, GT500 should get around the circuit quicker, maybe, but maybe not. You think about it. The GT500 is not an autonomous vehicle. It is not a sentient being. You've got to have a 70-odd% water, flesh, and blood squishy thingy behind the wheel to get that thing to go around and around or straight or anywhere. It's up to the driver. And by the way, guys, there are plenty of folks that are campaigning not only Hellcats, but also manual transmission scat packs around closed circuits. And they are embarrassing some people with those cars, especially the 392 cars. Don't sleep on them. There are fans of that platform, and once they get tuned up, just like anything else, you get good at anything if you do it enough, and that's what these guys are up to with those cars. Symphonics is saying, can't wait for GM to put the LT5 in the ZL1 and rain on Ford's parade. And they might. Dr. Diff, damn, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Dang, thank you, sir. Saying thank you all for all the advice. I think that stock 5.7 cast crank will hold 1,000 horsepower. Hold it once. Maybe. The crank is going to be suspect. Going to probably want to go forged on that. Stock displacement, but still go forged. Actually, I thought the 5.7 truck engines were forged cranks. Let me check that out. Now I'm starting to second guess myself. I know the Toyotas are. I know the 5 liters are. Anyway, check that out just to be on the safe side. Oh, Mopar Man's checking in. Saying, just so we all know, it's 840, 770, and 808 and 717. There it is. Perfect. It beats up on the GT500. I had to look it up. And I believe the Red Eye is 795 and 695. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think I'm too far off. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's not even, no. And then, look, if you want to talk about, here, let's do this. If you want to talk about the carbon package GT500, which I don't, but if you want to talk about that carbon package and it's going to take off all this weight and do all this whatever to that car, now you're talking about a car that is going to be significantly more expensive. And they're going to sell it as an upgrade to the GT350R, which to me is a freaking shame. It's blasphemy as far as I'm concerned. I am, again, in love with the GT350s. And I did, so here we go. You know, I hate to always like harken back to some obscure video that I made, but you know, I made a video when the Hellefant Crate engine was released, and I was, gushing over the Hellefant Crate engine, but I was really offended by the marketing. You know, when they had the elephant footprint stamping out the Hellcat, the paw print. I'm like, dude, don't piss on your tradition. Don't piss on your history. If it weren't for the Hellcat, we wouldn't even be talking about Hellefant at this point. Not that the Hellefant even matters. It's a crate engine. They've already sold out of them, and you can do just as well in the aftermarket. But anyway, getting back to the point. I'm kind of there a little bit with the GT350. I am a little bit I'm questioning a little bit. Let me rephrase this. I'm questioning a little bit how being Ford, how they are going to bring the GT500 to market, and what cars are they going to put that up against. Obviously, the ZL1 is going to come to play, but what else is out there really to line that car up with on a closed circuit? Well, you're looking at Porsche. You're looking at a lot of cars with some fancy stripper-sounding names. That's what they're going to be lining this thing up against. Will it do well? It's not going to do poorly. You can assure yourself of that. But in terms of actual outright marketability and market performance, I don't think so. I think that car is great for marketing for Ford, but it's not great for the fans of American muscle. That's another way I can spin it for you too. Mopar Man saying, you are very welcome, E. Mason. Again, thank you, my friend. Say, look forward to the Mopar Guru every time. I'm not working 25 hours a day, man. Believe me, I know what you're talking about. Speaking of which, man, I woke up this morning, and when, some of you guys will understand this, especially if you own your own business, or let's say you're in business-to-business sales, business-to-business management, whatever the case might be. When you wake up in the morning, you're at work. And you're at work until you go to bed at night. So, yeah, believe me, struggle's real, brother. Gallup saying the mistake we are making. Oh, again, Dr. Diff, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that as well. Gallup's saying the mistake we are making is comparing the Dodge Hellcat Red Eye to the GT500 in a different kind of application. As we all know, the S550 chassis is a worldwide production car. Yeah? Let's talk about that for a minute. LX platform was also and could still also be considered a world platform, as it is the, I don't know, it's an E platform and an S platform combined. Technically, that's two world platforms that are kind of homologated, or not homologated, that are stuck together, for lack of a better way of putting it. You've got S-Class Mercedes suspension bits with an E-Class platform. I had an 09 E63 AMG, and if you've ever ridden in a Charger, you are literally riding in my old E63. Everything is identical, even down to where the fuel pump hats, everything. Gate track rear end, The whole bit. Just the platform and the chassis was identical to that thing. So yeah, I get it. The new Mustang is a marketed world platform car as it sits, but let's run that backwards just a little bit. This thing has been a world platform since, I don't know, 2005. So Daimler Chrysler partnership with Chrysler, that's that working for you, brother. Gallup saying drag racing is very often not as popular outside of the U.S. Yeah, but you know what? American muscle is. America's just as popular outside of the United States. And I'll take it a step farther. It's that rebel spirit. It's that come at me, bro. That's America. That is very marketable, and that is what a lot of other things, as offensive as it may be to some, it's certainly admirable no matter which direction that you go in. That defiant nature that America embodies, that is the American muscle car. And those that want to take part in that, you don't have to go to a drag strip. Take it to the streets. That's what we do. Viva la Mexico. So that's what's up with those, those folks that, in other countries that, aren't as into American muscle cars and aren't as into drag racing, can certainly appreciate the legend of these cars. Now, yeah, you're talking about the Mustang being a world platform. That's great. GT500, though, doesn't fit that mold. If it was going to be a true world platform type of a car, it would be a lighter weight, more nimble, more track-focused car that would go against the likes of a GT3 Porsche or whatever other ilk that may be associated with that. Oh, wait, they already have that. It's the GT350. That's really more the true Euro-style sports car as opposed to American muscle car, which is what the GT500 started off life as and what it will continue to be associated with no matter what they do to that thing moving forward into the future. I understand where you're coming from, but there's another side to the story that has a little bit more compelling argument. Justin saying, finally, God, man, Ford is really disappointing me. They should have said this a while ago. Man, I'll tell you this, right there with you, brother, on that. And listen, I'll take it a step farther. Not only, this is how right you are, my friend. Not only should they have said it a long time ago, they should have marketed it. They should have given us, look, I'm getting freaking goosebumps. They should have said, look, this is what you're going to get. 760 horsepower. Just the other side of 600 pound-feet of torque. Got this really cool new transmission. Let's take this thing to the drag strip. Let's go have a good time. America. Go down the drag strip and have a ball with this thing. That's the direction they should have taken this car. They should have taken a page out of FCA's book and marketed this thing properly. Maybe then we can get on board with it. But right now, look at what we're left to do. We're speculating on all this stuff. We're all freaking out because we're afraid the transmission is made out of freaking peanut brittle. I mean, damn. That's not a good look. I want to be able to know that I can jump into this thing, throw a drag pack on it, take it down to my local, bust out some freaking mid 10-second passes, eat a Frito pie, have a cold icy frosty, and then get the hell out of Dodge. That's what I want to know about this car. Not go to the drag strip, be worried as hell that the thing's going to explode. That's when the problems start. That is freaking anxiety. I mean, you're paying 76 plus an ad attack, paying $100 grand to have anxiety. Oh yeah, and by the way, all eyes are on you, brother. All eyes are on you. Everybody's going to want to know and everybody's going to want to see what that GT500 is going to do, getting down the drag strip. Is it going to make it all the way down the drag strip? That's what they want to know. That's what the folks are looking to see, just like the GT350. Everybody remember when that thing came out? Everybody wanted to see one go down the drag strip, only to be completely disappointed with it, but with the knowledge that it was really set up to go around a road course, a closed circuit. Still just kind of hair lips me a little bit because it's still a Mustang and it should be at least available with a 430 gear so you can take the thing to the drag strip. They did that back in the day, by the way. They fitted GT350s with 410 and 430 gears, took them down there and kicked ass in drag racing. And it was a factory option back then. Anyway, getting back to the point. Sorry about that. But yeah, true words. Damn, Quick Brick. Thank you very much, my friend. I truly appreciate that. Saying a little love for Project Revlon, my friend. Looking forward to seeing her wax that GT500 ass. Absolutely. Well, we do have a little bit of something coming for. I am in the process of putting the tune together right now for. Got most of the way done with the engine tune last night. Just putting a bass tune together on it. I'm going to put the transmission tune together for it tonight. Basically from there next week, send the ECU off, have it unlocked, and put the tune together and let her rip. I'm not going to do a whole lot in terms of trying to get more power out of it. Really more focused on fan controller and a little bit of transmission tuning. And the stuff that I'm doing in the engine tune is just to basically complement what I'm up to with the transmission tune. But in terms of adding timing or going nuts with any of the other settings, and just no tables, scalers, anything like that. I'm not really going absolutely nuts with the car. But again, this is just a little bit of a massage for the car, and not at all trying to do a max effort or anything like that. But I wouldn't mind getting about a 1020 out of the thing on pump gas come cold weather time, but we'll see. But thank you so much, my brother. I truly appreciate that, man. Very cool. Thank you so much. $50 contribution to the cause, man. Thank you so much. Let's see. Sorry, I blew right past that. Sorry, guys. Kenneth is saying Demon and GT500 are not comparable. That's why I'm not comparing them. Hellcat and Demon are not comparable either. Demon was a one-off car that they will not do again. Yeah, kinda. But the thing is that we still have the Red Eye. And the Red Eye is not, again, like I was saying earlier, it's not just a wide body, and it's not just a Demon, but without all the gadgets and gizmos. You can still order a Red Eye in the exact same trim as my Hellcat. Regular fenders, lighter weight package also. You can also order it with the rear seat delete. You can also order it with the 309 gear. Sure, all of that is great for drag racing, and I get that. But yeah, it's hard to compare the two. They're invariably going to be compared, mainly because Ford threw out that number of sub 11 second quarter mile time. It's going to have to be sub 11 second at 760 horsepower and 4,200 pounds. That should kind of come by default. The problem that I'm seeing is, people keep saying, well, it's a closed circuit car. It's still a Mustang, no matter what it is at the end of the day, no matter how you want to market it, no matter how you want to call it. To me, it sounds more like a cop-out or an excuse. Yeah, it's a closed circuit car. Don't take it to a drag strip. That's not what it's meant for. That's not this car's sole purpose. Are you kidding me? Again, do I have to remind anybody that back in the day, 289, the record for Mopar Man 440, help me out here. What's the class? It's small car, small motor. Anyway, back then, the Shelby owned that record running a 1240 at 110, or no, I'm sorry, 1230 at 110 miles an hour, whatever it was. And it was just a nothing GT350 with a set of slicks and a 4-speed and 410 gears, or maybe it was 430. Doesn't matter. 289 hypo 289. Anyway, getting back to the point, it is still a Mustang at heart. Mustangs have always been drag race cars. People have always taken Mustangs to the drag strip. Again, every time I go to the drag strip, which is a lot, every time I go to the drag strip, it is infested with Mustangs. And I love seeing them because I get to see all kinds of variety with Mustangs. I get to see the guys with turbos and built motors and naturally aspirated on E85. All these cars going, deep into the 9s. Running, deep into the 11s for the NA guys. I get to see the turbo 4-cylinder guys getting close to those 11-second time slips. Even get a chance to see a turbo V6 every once in a while run into the, the low 11s or mid 11s, whatever the hell they're running. That is cool to see. And you're trying to tell me that the GT500 can't play in that sandbox? Are you kidding me? It's a freaking Mustang. Anyway, sorry, getting back to it. Gallup saying, I believe the comparison is better versus a Camaro ZL1 1LE, not a Hellcat or a Red Eye. Yeah, maybe. And let's get into that. Okay, so first of all, ZL1 1LE comes with an actual manual transmission. Check. ZL1 1LE can be offered up with a torque converter automatic. Check. ZL1 1LE infinitely upgradable a la LT whatever based engine the thing's got in it this week. Yeah, check. And parts are cheap. Check. What else you want to know? Introductory price is less. Check. Handles like it's on rails. Already is known to be a strong handling, competition ready car from the factory. Check. I'm going to start running out of digits, and when I get to freaking 20, I've only got one more I can count on after that. So look, this is going to keep going on for as long as I keep running my mouth about the ZL1 versus the GT500, and we're only basing it off of specifications. And if the argument is that the GT500 trumps it in power, really, the GT500 trumps it in power, and that is it. You better hope that it trumps it in cooling capacity. You better hope that it trumps it in its ability to be able to run 20-minute sessions back to back to back the way that the ZL1 1LE can. These are the things that that car is going to have to be able to do. And whether we're talking about the 1LE, which is manual only, or the ZL1, which you can get in an automatic, it will excel at whatever environment that you place it into. That car is amazing at what you are able to do and what you can extract from that car in terms of power, performance, durability, reliability, longevity. All of these things are known values and known functions of the ZL1. The GT500 is going to have to do a hell of a lot to prove its point, but the reality of the fact is ZL1 is already sitting on top of that throne, not even worrying about anything made by FCA, and it's just sitting there staring at this GT500, licking its chops. Ain't no ZL1 going to be intimidated by that car. We'll see how it all ends up playing and panning out. I will say this, though. There are an awful lot of ZL1s at running around Motorsports Ranch here in Houston. It's a closed circuit track here in Houston, Texas. Some GT350s, but a hell of a lot more regular old Mustangs that have been kitted out for that environment and for that purpose. Again, quick break, brother. I appreciate it very much, brother. Dr. Diff is saying they don't make a cast stock displacement for the 5.7 Hemi. Oh, it's Ryan Rodriguez saying, hey, Mr. Mason, it's Ryan from the Tough Guys podcast. What's up, Ryan? Have you talked about the rims yet? Only touched on it. Only touched on it. We're going to get to that. He was talking about the carbon fiber rims that are on that GT500. Vince is in. Damn, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Saying, hey, B, it's been a while since I joined the live chat. Real curious to see what Chevy has cooking, if anything at all. Feels like they abandoned the muscle car wars. Corvette, it's a different story. Okay, so here's the thing. What Chevrolet did with the ZL1 was actually a pretty smart move, albeit not very exciting. You know, it's one of those, you know, if you're into like mixed martial arts, they kind of did what's known as a lay and pray wrestling type move, where basically you get your opponent in a position and you just tie him up in that position where it's almost a stalemate. That's what they did when they started this balancing act between durability and power. The reality is that there is plenty more that you could get out of that, out of the package that's offered up for the ZL1. But from the factory, you can run that thing pretty much indefinitely. As long as you've got tires, you can wail on that thing and you're not going to run into any problems, especially with cooling, whether it's oil or coolant in this case. That's one of the areas where Chevrolet is amazing. They never cease to bring a product. I know, I get it. The C7 Z06 had cooling problems. Okay, whatever. ZL1 did not. And the big issue here is, you know, did they abandon the muscle car wars? Well, here's what they did. They gave us a naturally aspirated car that just is not really punching within its weight class, so to speak. They gave us a ZL1, which didn't really have any competition from Ford at the time. I mean, it had the GT350, but that was really it. We'll see if they step their game up any at all moving forward with the ZL1 1LE against the GT500. Believe me when I tell you, power is just a wink and a kiss away with that platform LT5 that's in that car. It is absolutely nasty. And if you've ever seen one broken apart, the rods in that thing alone will convince you that it was built to handle significantly more power than what it came with from the factory. And thank you very much, Vince. I appreciate that, my friend. So yeah, Vince is asking about those rims. I'm sorry, not sorry, Vince. Ryan was asking about those rims. Yeah, so what we were talking about on the Tough Guys podcast when I was on, I think we had touched on the fact that the cost of those rims alone for the GT500R, I'm going to call it because I don't, carbon package. It's a GT500R, make no mistake. Was talking about that setup, wheel and tire setup, I'm guessing, maybe just the rims alone, but somewhere around $20,000, basically 5 large per rim. Are you kidding me? I mean, if that holds true, we're talking about a set of rims that costs more than a car, like a nice used car, like a damn nice used car. What? I mean, really? What? Okay, first of all, what happens if you car crash the damn thing? I mean, are you effed at that point? I mean, I get it. They did the same thing for the GT350R, but I mean, damn, we're talking about, again, this added extra obnoxious cost as opposed to, I don't know, hell, I might pay an extra $5,000 to have the transmission that I want in the car, whether it is a manual, a true, honest to goodness manual, or a true torque converter style automatic. But you put all this development money into rims. Man, we're talking about rims here, man. Yeah, okay, carbon fiber doesn't excite me as much as having an exciting driving experience. You can make the things out of whatever you want. They're not going to engage me any more than a manual transmission will. And what am I supposed to do? Oh, this thing's got carbon fiber rims. What is that supposed to get me laid? Look, I'm sorry, but carbon fiber rims don't mean anything to me on a car that already weighs 4,200 pounds. It's stupid. It makes no sense. Ford, God, just, seriously. SRT Craig's is saying Dodge set the bar high with a 1-2 punch when the power brokers brought us the 15 Cat and the Demon in 2018. The rest is history. Got the arm flex. Man, I'm telling you, look, Dodge set the bar real high. And in terms of straight line performance, you can't mess with Dodge stock for stock, man. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. And when I say stock, I'm talking about on a tire, on a prepared drag race, or a drag strip in a drag race. But yeah, it's tough to say, man. It's really tough to say what the GT500 is really going to bring to us, because we don't have the specifications on price, so we're speculating. We don't have the actual weight of the vehicle, although it's speculated to be around 4,200 pounds. We don't have any of that action, so it's really difficult to really talk on those points. But that's Ford's fault, because we're left to only speculate. And those of us that do get excited about this kind of stuff and they can ramble on just excessively about this type of thing, and those of us that will listen to people that will ramble on excessively about this, these are the folks that in many cases would be the passionate ones and would have the heart and the passion for this hobby and for this lifestyle, to shell out the money and to work the extra hours and to work the extra shifts and to take on the side jobs and to do what it took to be able to own something as cool as these cars, the stuff that we do kind of have to sacrifice in many cases to have, because this is what we live for. And that really to me is the most insulting thing about the GT500, is that there are so many of us that work that hard to be able to own and to be able to be a part of this lifestyle. Some people call it a hobby. Some people can call it, whatever they want to call it, just this obsession, whatever it is. But we do the extra work and we put in the extra hours to have this, and for them to release it in this laissez-faire, lackadaisical, weight is irrelevant, whatever. That's bullshit. That's the way it makes me feel. I look at it, I'm thinking, damn, man, how the hell am I going to get excited about your GT500 when marketing can't even get excited about the GT500? Marketing doesn't even want to have anything to do with this thing, apparently. They keep just, tell them it makes 760 horsepower. Don't give them the price, though. Don't give them any of that. But 760 horse, yeah, that's good. That's good. How much does it weigh? They're going to want to know that. Why do they even want to know how much it weighs? You get the impression that these are not car guys. These are not car gals. These are not people that are of the same family that we are all a part of. It doesn't matter what flag you wave. Ford, Mopar, Chevy, Toyota, Honda. It doesn't matter. We're all the same with our love and passion for the game here. You feel like that love and passion is not shared by Ford for this car. You've got this fantastic looking thing that is supposed to be the next big thing, and the only thing that they can give us is, in terms of information, are these little snippets with no marketing behind it, just like throwing darts, not even paying attention. That is what is the most infuriating thing for me, is that it's my passion and my excitement is being wasted on this. It's like, you're super hot for this person that you're really into, and it's just, go buy me a soda and give me a bag of chips. Like, all right, well, maybe if I get you another, can I get you some condiments to go on with that? Maybe if I get you another snack, you might realize that we're actually here and we're spending money on you. We'd like to at least, get a conversation out of the deal. That's really where I'm at with this. There is no conversation with this. We're getting friend zoned over here. There's a whole lot of heavy petting, but nothing's getting wet. And the problem with all of that is that we're talking about something that's going to cost a lot of people a lot of money to be involved with this car, and it just seems like Ford doesn't care enough about it. That sucks, because the car, the name, the tradition of the GT500 deserves more. And I hate the word deserve, but in this case, it deserves more. Not because it's the new GT500, but because of everything that the GT500 has stood for and has meant to the muscle car and to the American hot rod community from 2007 leading up to today, since we had to wait for, 4 years to get a new one. Let's see, Tan saying, yo B, what's up? Al saying, what are your thoughts on adding meth to a Hellcat in 392 naturally aspirated? Don't have any on that right now. Not a good idea on a 392. James is saying, just got my Challenger GT. Actually a cool car. Just curious on any faulty points with the V6 that I will want to keep an eye on. Nope, just keep the thing, keep up with your oil changes. Getting back to it. Tan's saying, I was very disappointed with the new GT500 after seeing the new transmission choice and the knob. Decided to hang on to my 2014 GT500. Yes. Thank you. And I think a lot of guys will be doing the same. But yes, awesome car, man. And I'll be hanging on to that one too, man. Keep that car in your garage. And a lot of folks are sharing that sentiment. Kenneth is saying, thank you for your feedback. You're right about drag racing and Mustangs. It's like they've forgotten about us. Man, I think they have. I think they have, and they're missing the boat. Mopar man saying, B. Mason, what are these Ford people talking about? Not comparable to the Red Eye. They were all talking smack about the wait for the GT500 to come in and beat the demon, the Red Eye. Now, yeah, no kidding. So, and I was going to get to that point, but you brought it up, so let's rock and roll. So far, let me just put some things into perspective here. Leading up to the GT500, everybody in the Ford camp was just saying, y'all wait. Everybody wait, because when we come out with the GT500, we're sitting every single one of all of y'all's back down. Every single one of y'all is going to be wishing that y'all have been waiting on this GT500, because it is going to put a stank, a hurt, a sting, whatever words you want to associate with it, that's what you're going to be feeling after you see these 6 tail lights fading off into the freaking horizon. That's what the GT500 is going to do. Here comes here comes the GT500. That, he's going to descend from the mountaintops on a ray of sunshine, land right into our garage, and we're going to drive out and just wax everybody. And it ain't happening. It ain't gonna happen. It's not even close to happening. And I, again, don't want to hear about handling. Handling. We've been talking a lot about circuit racing, closed circuit racing here, and that would insinuate a better handling car. Can I tell you guys something? Let me speculate here. How many GT500s are actually going to find their way onto an actual road circuit? I'll take that a step farther. Let's talk about the GT350. How many of those cars have actually made their way onto a closed road circuit course? Percentage-wise, it's pretty dang small. GT500 will be even smaller still with its percentage of participation in that type of an environment. You know what I see when I go to Motorsports Ranch? I see a freaking swarm of Miatas, proper car for that course. Love Miatas, by the way. I see a ton of C5 Corvettes, C4 Corvettes. I see a ton of old M3s. See a lot of Mustangs. Starting to see more Challengers, by the way, guys. See some F-bodies out there. See some 5th gens. Quite a few 5th gens. See a few 6th gens too. But not a lot of these from the factory, purpose-built factory road circuit cars. I hate that quoting thing, but that's what I'll do right now. What do you see from overseas? GT3, sure. Older 911s, absolutely. But mainly BMWs. The rest of the pack, can chime in on their own, but that's what I typically see. So now what you're going to talk about, and let's start talking about something here too. So you're talking about handling. So we know that not many of the cars are going to actually see a closed circuit. So that's just a given. What's the percentage? I don't know. Let's call it single digits and be generous and call it 5. But you do know that that car's handling on the street means nothing, right? At any same speeds, either back road, mountain road, or just driving the thing around, hitting on off roads or off ramps or on ramps. This thing does great in that environment. I've never been just driving down the road and had the car steer off into nowhere, like it doesn't hold the road. All modern cars handle very well, especially when you compare them to their older counterparts. And by the way, the older GT500, terrible handling car on a road course, god awful if you're being honest, but a fantastic car on the street. Not super awesome on the drag strip, mainly again because of weight distribution. And you're going to have to run a slick, you're going to have to run a bias ply, you're going to bounce the thing off the rev limiter to launch it. Potentially some issues with the transmission. Some guys will rework the trans a little bit, but doesn't matter. You're talking about a car that would be entertaining, not competitive, but entertaining the entire time. That is really more to the point because look, let's face it, if you're buying a GT500, you're not buying it because you have to. You're buying it because you want to. It's a certain, experience that you want to have. Part of the obsession that you have with the whole car culture. That's going to lead you to buy that GT500 for the experience that you're going to have, which will be neutered with the GT500 because of the transmission. So anyway, getting back to the handling thing. Okay, so a professional driver or somebody that is around cars and drives a ton of different cars in that environment might be able to make that GT500 handle better than a Challenger or a ZL1 maybe. What's the margin of victory here on a 2-mile run? What is it? 3 seconds? 1 second? Irrelevant is basically how that turns out. You put sticky tires all the way around this car, and I promise you I can get this thing around a road course just fine. driven a lot of stuff around road courses, primarily motorcycles, but you want to talk about a car that handles like crap? Try any one of my Gen 2 Viper GTSs. Those things were awful, unless you knew what you were doing with them. And then they were just a handful. We'll see what category that GT500 falls into. So far, I'm not feeling it though. Let's see. SRT Crazy saying drag racing is huge in many places outside the U.S. Yeah, it really is. And someone doesn't know what they're talking about. It's massive in Australia. Actually, some would argue Australia does as good, if not maybe a better job than the States on some of those things. And they love American muscle cars. Got the muscle up. I love it. And believe me, the Aussies got their own hot rods too, and they do a damn good job with them. Kenneth is saying, when I saw that little twisty knob in the GT500, my jaw dropped, and not in a good way. Yeah, no kidding. You and me both, brother. Canada guys checking in saying, saw the notification for this like an hour ago. What's up, man? What is up, brother? Mopar man saying, damn, B. Mason, this is your best live ever. You are on a roll. I'm glad you're holding your head together. Some of us want to keep your live stuff coming. Don't need your noggin to blow apart. Nah, over a Ford. Nah, we're good, brother. We're good. I've just been saving up a little bit. Only because, look, this is a big deal. This is American muscle car royalty here, guys. I mean, this is as high as it gets for American muscle car. And again, the lackluster way that it's being brought to the table, it sucks. This thing needs to have pomp, circumstance. I want to see, chicks in Mexican dresses spinning around this car. I want to see, nunchucks getting thrown around, and I want to see jugglers, and I want to see all kinds of shit that looks cool. That's what I want to see when it comes down to the GT500. That's what I want to. The same way that FCA did it. FCA did a burnout and a wheelie at a press release. The GT500. Could you think that it was ever a big deal, Ford, that when you're releasing the GT500 that you're going to be releasing this into the world like this? This is the impression that we're going to get. You only get one chance to make a first impression. And I'm telling you, this is the worst first impression I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, the ZL1 was a little bit, guarded, but you had a little bit of a Skunk Works idea about that ZL1. That was pretty cool. The GT500, they just keep feeding you this, like, crap about the GT500. Almost to the point, not to get all Cold War on you, but it's almost like when you would feed somebody false information just to see where they go with it. You almost wonder, is that what's going on with the GT500? Could I possibly be so myopic and such a honk for the GT500 that I would take that type of a conspiracy angle? Are they feeding us crap? Is it really going to come out with this beefed up 10-speed automatic transmission, 850 horsepower, line lock, trans brake, awesome adjustable suspension, an extra set of tires for road racing, an extra set of tires for drag race? I mean, wouldn't that be a ball? And it comes out and sells for, I don't know, 75 grand or whatever a sexy sounding number is. Could that be it? Well, we can at least dream, right? We can at least hope. Because right now, this is so crappy and so lousy, I can't even... Look, I don't want to see anybody lose their job. I don't want to ever have any, say, somebody needs to get... I'm not that guy. I don't use those terms. I think that throws out negative energy. What I will say is this. Open hand slapped? I mean, this is one of those things where you just go, talk about missing an opportunity. And missing really the whole point of that car. Missing the importance of that car. Missing the tradition that Ford started when they brought that car to market. And now it just feels like Ford doesn't care enough about the car to hype it up. It makes it hard for anybody that's in the market for that car and that's been waiting for that car to be released. It makes it that much more difficult for us to get, either excited about it or just to even want, other than for just the, normal, oddity, curiosity of the thing, to even care about what the thing does going down a drag strip, or what some journo honk and his pro driver homie can get the thing around a road course in. What's the time? Am I supposed to get all excited about that now? I don't know. It's kind of hard to. Can say V Mason still has Mustang blood? Absolutely. Michael Corleone saying, well said. Got that claps. Thank you, sir. Kiss a minute. Maybe it's not buzzing like it should because we don't have Carroll Shelby anymore. You know what? Maybe. But you know what? You don't have to have Carroll Shelby to have a marketing department that knows what the heck they're doing. I mean, that's really more to the point. And if that is the case, if we're talking about a marketing department over at Ford that is not in tune, so to speak, with the importance and the positioning and the placement of that car in the marketplace, then they don't need to be in marketing. I mean, transition them over into something else like accounting or, I don't know, hummingbird feeder cleaner. Whatever the case is, just give them a job doing something else and take care of them in that respect so that somebody that knows what they're doing and has a passion and has an understanding about that car's place in the marketplace, give them that opportunity. Because it didn't happen here, man. I mean, what am I supposed to get excited about now? What, the next Raptor? What, the next Ranger Raptor? What's coming down the pipe now? The next, multi-purpose general family transportation appliance? Is that what Ford's getting all hype about? Or is it going to be like a pocket rocket or something along those lines? You know, even that would be cool. But this is the GT500, man, and it deserves a hell of a lot more than what it got. Show me Mopar checking in. Got the fist bumps. I love it. Saying biggest bummer is the GT500 will be unobtainium for 2 years at least. Real talk, my friend. Definitely. The most staggering performance number will be the dealer markup. Yeah, tracks will still be all Mopar for sure, man. Absolutely. Toby Rama saying, you missed me saying, can't wait to know the specs of the new 7.3 gas truck engine that Ford is putting out in 2020. Actually, those specs are already out. I say I'd like to see a variation in the Mustang GT500, but that will never happen. No, it won't ever happen because that engine is not designed as a performance engine. I want to say that it is 405 or 425 horse with about 525 pound-feet of torque. If memory serves me correct, it is a utilitarian engine designed to run at basically wide open throttle for extended periods of time hauling loads. The heads, the intake, everything about that engine it's basically a tugboat motor. It's a tow motor. It would do great in a boat, but not in a performance application. It's not there. Lone Wolf is saying if Ford doesn't sell them, they'll realize they messed up. Absolutely. And then William's saying, why can't they get these cars under 4,000 pounds? The Europeans seem to have it down. Man, it's because Americans are big and we don't fit into itty-bitty cars anymore. We've been too busy eating that good Popeyes. We've been too busy eating that good drive-through, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, there's probably a little bit of an aspect to that. But, it's just the size of these things, man. I'll put it to you like this. You take an S550, park it up against like a Fox body or an SN95 or a New Edge, and it will look like the S550 ate the Fox body or ate the New Edge. These cars have just gotten progressively larger. Weight goes along with it, plus all the safety contraptions. Well, that all adds weight too. Plus, a lot of the European cars are known for using aluminum as opposed to steel, which is an American thing, so that kind of plays into it as well. James saying, thanks, man. Appreciate the info. I love your live streams. I'm a truck driver and always listen to your live streams. Your input and advice is awesome. James, thank you very much for that. You be careful out there on those roads, man. It's dangerous out there what you're doing, buddy. Be safe. SRT saying, SRT Craig saying, that is what I'm missing with both Ford and Chevy. They do not have that excitement and can learn a lot from Chrysler marketing. Absolutely. By the way, James, thank you for the kind words, my friend. Yeah, they could. Yeah. How about this? I remember as a kid, car shows. Not custom car shows, but new car shows where they would reveal something. And there was always a lot of marketing, a lot of knowledgeable folks around the cars. You just don't get that anymore. You don't get the pomp, the circumstance, the theater that you really need to have for a modern, hot rod like a GT500. You need to have that excitement. You need to see that drive. You need to see that engagement with the fans and that just sense of the sense of community with us that are out here. Those of us that are excited about these types of cars. So, yeah, I hear you. They can learn a ton. Ken is saying, what Chrysler? They only sell minivans. Yeah, they dominate the market too. But yeah, we only have Dodge for the hot rods nowadays, and Jeep too. SRT crazy, but they don't have many products to get excited about like Dodge does either. They don't. You're exactly right. I mean, look at FCA's lineup for a minute. And they always release it with something cool, by the way. First of all, let's talk about the Durango SRT. Chained to a freaking light post doing a four-wheel burnout. 392 screaming its ass off, four wheels ablaze. SRT Jeep, back in the day, runs 0 to 60 in less than 6 seconds, ... in the rain. They used to hype that like you wouldn't believe. Look at what they did with the Demon. Look at what they've done with the Hellcats over the years. This is the type of marketing that FCA brings. This is the type of excitement that it generates. Not only for these cars, but let's say you are going in to buy a minivan, and it's Clifford, Cletus, whatever, pick a funny name, Mopar dealership selling Dodge, Chrysler, and Fiats and Maseratis. You go in there to buy that minivan begrudgingly, but there's that Hellcat sitting there. You go in there, but it's always there, and there's always an excitement. And so you buy the minivan, that Hellcat's in the back of your mind, and you're thinking, you know what, man, I know the marketing behind it. I've seen that thing doing burnouts. I've seen the YouTube videos of that car. I know what I'm up against. I know that I'm in a minivan, but I'm still kind of part of the family here. That's another aspect to this that they're not getting, is that it sets the stage. It sets the spirit. It sets the involvement for your customer, whether that customer is coming in for just like their first car, something inexpensive, a small pickup truck, small SUV, all the way up to somebody buying a fleet of work trucks. When you walk into that dealership, something like this thing, something like the GT500 will set that tone. But it won't do anything if you don't even know the car exists. You walk in now, you don't know it's a GT500. It looks like a Mustang with a body kit. You don't know what the story is behind this thing. There's no marketing to tell me that this is going to be the next best thing. It's just another Mustang, just like the one that was before it. What makes it special? It's supercharged. Oh, really? Like a Roush? Well, yeah, like a Roush, but it's better than the Roush. Really? How? That's a hard decision. Or I'm sorry, that's a hard conversation to have. Anyway, getting back to it. Doran saying, I don't understand the point of the wide body when tons of us are already running 305s with 315s in the rear without sticking out. Not even crazy about the look. Can you explain, please? Yes, actually, it's so that you can run those wider wheels and tires on properly wide rims with enough offset to not rub around on everything. Plus, you can run those same 305s or 315s on the front of the car, and it aids in handling as well. It makes the car a little bit more responsive if you want to do the more spirited driving, or if you want to take the thing on a road course, you can throw some sick-ass 888s on the thing, like some of the guys have done with the SRT wide bodies. And when I've seen those on road courses, they absolutely embarrass cars that you wouldn't think they would. And by the way, yeah, that's just the 392. Mopar Man saying, I'm with you, B. Mason. Ford blew it bad up to this point. Look what Dodge did with the Demon. Oh, man, the Demon was sick. The Demon had arguably the best marketing ever for a vehicle release. It got you engaged. You wanted to try to figure out what the codes were and the license plate. All of that was so cool. I loved it. I thought it was the neatest thing ever. And Ford, don't have to copy it exactly, but damn, at least do something close. Ain't gonna hate you for that. Let's see. Danette is asking, what about FCA warranty being voided if oil is not changed every 6 months regardless of mileage? Haven't heard of that ever actually been enforced. I have heard of it based on mileage, but not on a specific timeline. Mopar Man saying, yeah, Kenneth, they really did. They did those great commercials, the big reveal. They marketed the heck out of it like Mopar did back in the day, man. I'm telling you. Shawnee's saying, a little late to the game, but I'm trying to be happy for the GT500. I'm a Mustang guy, as you know, but I'm not super thrilled. Yeah, man, I don't know. We got an hour and a half so far deep into this thing, and I don't think I've shut up once. I've been rambling nonstop. And yeah, I mean, my thoughts are, you know, they're conflicted. I'm confused. I don't know really, you know, what to think, what to feel here. Aside from the fact that I know that I'm not ultra excited, I know for a fact that I'm let down by a power number. I know for a fact that the rest of what this car has to offer has yet to be revealed. So, you know, we're all left to speculate. And so far, the hard facts are backing up the, I don't know, the kind of negative, sourish tasting, kind of like old milk taste in your mouth. You know, type of speculation that we're coming up with, because everything that was, you know, we were waiting on, and all the hype and all the hope really that we were hanging on is just not really being, it's not being brought to fruition, so to speak. Hey, Shawnee's checking in saying, hey, Mopar Man, hi everybody. I miss the old days when Ford would make a blower Mustang that people could actually get for under 50 grand or even under 40 grand. Yeah, true that. Mopar Man's hollering back out at Sean. Jake saying, yo, I love your car, and my dad owns a Dodge Scat Pack. I love the Scat Packs, man. You know, I'll always love my 392 brethren and my 5.7 brethren, too. Kevin saying, awesome, your average Mustang driver can take out his entire crowd of onlookers with the increased power while doing burnouts. Man, I hope that it doesn't end up being the case, but I don't know, YouTube would suggest otherwise. Lone Wolf Custom saying, if Dodge had Ford's marketing team when the Challenger came out, it would have been a 4-cylinder front-wheel drive, no doubt. Well, you know, Ford damn near gave us the Probe GT as the Mustang, so that tells you anything. Kenneth is saying, damn it, you guys got Goldberg. That's all the marketing Dodge needed. No kidding, right? Shawnee's saying, Ford waited so long to make the GT500 that I kind of lost my attachment. Couldn't have said that better myself. Good words on that one. What was the last GT500? 2013? Actually, it was 14. That is a ridiculous amount of time. It's a ridiculous amount of time, kinda. It's a sad state that they left it in by just chopping it off with the aluminum 5.8 and not carrying that car forward. I think that's, but you know, they had the S550, they had to, you know, bring the new platform into the mix and all that. I get it. But where they screwed up is that, how they screwed up is this. This is where they got things backwards. They put all their time, effort, and development money into the Voodoo engine, the GT350 engine. And good on them for that. But that was never something that was a part of tradition. That could have been done later and said, you know, and I would have brought that to market as, look, here's the ultimate naturally aspirated car. You know, have your supercharged thing, that's fine, but if you, I'll put it to you like this. If you release a GT350 and then release a GT500 that is that much better, and you're still charging ATA tags for GT350s, that is a huge problem. Also, keep in mind that you're going to still have GT350s in dealerships with GT500 sitting right next to them. I wonder if it's going to chop the knees out from underneath the GT350 in terms of value. Market pricing, I have a feeling, is going to tank. If it hasn't started to already, it's well on its way, which might be the reason why Ford's not releasing pricing information yet. Blackbird saying, hey, B. Mason, thanks for all the info. Have you heard anything about the 900 horsepower Charger version of the Demon, aka the Angel? No. A lot of folks have been speculating on that, the same way they're speculating on there being a 426 cubic inch version to take the place of a 392 version of a naturally aspirated SRT engine. No, I haven't. Nobody is talking about it right now. It's not looking like it's an actual thing. I think there was a lot of misinformation that was sent out into the world, and unless they start doing something different, the best you can hope for is a wide body version of the Charger, which I think is a long time coming, by the way, and that will be an exciting car. Just from the look of it, it is going to be a bruiser of a car in person. I have a feeling that thing is going to be the next big thing. I have heard that that is supposed to be a go, but as far as anything else, different engine options, not happening right now. Tans is saying, I feel like the 2018 Mustang GT with a 10-speed auto is more exciting than the 2020 GT 500 at this point. It is, provided that, oh yeah, nobody's even talking about this. What about the Hemi Tick? I'm sorry. What about the Coyote Tick, the typewriter Tick? Does Chevy have a Tick? Oh, those are just sticking valves. But anyway, that's only if you don't watch out for that direct injection. Remember when all the noise was being chatted up from Ford guys about the Hemi Tick and, oh, well, it's, man, piece of shit Hemi, man. Okay, well, now you got the typewriter Tick, which has got a lot of guys freaked out. You're seeing a lot of buyback cars on used car lots, talking still about that Mustang. I wonder if that same level of attention to detail and attention to, I don't know, sidestepping the truth of an engine that's making a noise that it shouldn't on their part is going to carry forward with this GT500. Now, keep in mind that the GT350 doesn't have such issues, probably because it runs a much thicker oil, and probably because that oil is much more fit for the cause of what that GT350 is put out into this world for, which is high RPM, which does increase oil temperature. It's got the right oil in it. I just think that the modern Coyote just doesn't have the right oil in it. If it were mine, I'd run at least 040. SRT Crazy saying, yeah, and then the new 1320 Scatty is the quickest NA vehicle available on the market. Got the arm flex. I like it, and yes, it is. And apparently, it is punching higher than its weight class as well. Venomous Garage saying, what do you think of Ford's marketing quote on this car? Most power and torque, dense, supercharged production V8 engine in the world. And do you really want me to get into that? Fair enough. Let's talk about it. Power dense, my ass. First of all, what does that even mean? What, horsepower per cubic inch, which is an irrelevant discussion. First of all, the whole reason why that argument even holds any kind of water is because back in the day, long time ago in aviation, the trick was to try to get as much horsepower as in pounds that your engine made. That was the trick to having a strong power to weight ratio in a fighter aircraft. But in general, the idea is to have power to weight ratio. Displacement is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if it's 1 cubic inch or 1,000 cubic inches. If they both weigh the same, the 1,000 cubic inch engine makes a lot more power than the former. And to that point, why would they even hang on that on that statistic? Why? It makes no sense. So you're trying to tell me a 5.2 liter engine making 760 horsepower is more impressive than, I don't know, a Hellcat engine making 700 horsepower, or the Demon making 840 horsepower. Somebody needs to do real quickly, guys. Somebody grab their calculator. What's 840 divided by 6.2, and then what's 760 divided by 5.2? If somebody can do that math real quick, that'll tell us if it's the most impressive power dense engine if you're talking about displacement. But the reality is, what do the engines weigh? And when I did this, I actually, again, hate to go back to old videos, but I did a video on this. Believe it or not, here's the thing. I compared the LS3 crate motor, the Hemi 392, and the Coyote crate motor at the time. Shipping weight, basically 500 pounds for the Coyote, 505 pounds for the Hemi, and I think it was 400 and I forget what the number was for the LS3. Long story short, LS3 and 392 were identical for actual power to weight. The Hemi won, but you had to go so far down the other direction after the decimal point to get to the point. It's in the video archives in there somewhere. If you're bored to tears and can't sleep, that'll certainly do the trick. But that's really what I'm talking about. And it drives me nuts. Absolutely blows my mind. Oh, and when they start talking about, oh yeah, by the way, power dense, but what about packaging? That engine is like this freaking tall. That is the stupidest argument. It is a marketing ploy. It is a marketing ploy that suckers in people that don't know the other half of the equation. That's how you make a sucker out of somebody, is keep feeding them what they want to hear until they buy what you want, and then you ghost. Don't tell them about the bad part. Don't tell them about the real part. Only tell them what they want to hear, and that, my friend, is part of that equation right there, plain and simple. Racer X saying, too bad I don't have an extra 30 grand laying around to feed these stupid dealerships with their raping fees. Yeah, no kidding, the dealership. Still can't believe they're going to try to get away with the numbers that they're going to try to get away with. It's freaking insulting. G-Rock, and what up, my brother? Just checking in. Brother B, I guess I missed out on the release. Yep. There was a release, all right. Shawnee is saying, I heard 760 horsepower for the GT500B. You are disappointed? Yeah, that's pretty decent. I'm more disappointed in not having a manual transmission. I'm a diehard 6-speed guy. Big surprise, I know. Yeah, right. Well, no, here's the thing, though. 760 horsepower in this day and age is not impressive. And, oh, yeah, by the way, did anybody even bring up the fact, we're an hour and 41 minutes into this, I'm just now getting to it, no flex fuel on that car. At least it's not being marketed yet. That would have been a pretty sweet deal. 760 on 91 octane. I don't know, close to 800 on corn. That might get somebody excited. Oh, wait a minute. That means 0 to exploded DSG transmission even faster. But yeah, I mean, John, the thing is that we waited this long for 760 horsepower. Red Eye's already making 800. You gotta beat the king to be the king. You gotta beat the man to be the man. Right now, Mopar is the man. So then you're gonna hang on road course prowess and not drag racing when you forget the fact that it's a Mustang that we're talking about. I guess that's really more to the point than anything else. Mopar Man saying, to me it says Ford can't say the fastest, most powerful muscle car ever. Yeah, they cannot do that for sure. And Mopar Man's checking in saying, Sean, the torque number on the Demon 770, that number is over 100 better than the Ford. Yeah, significantly better. Let's see. Tans is saying, that's why I kept away from the 2018 GTs. I've seen so many of those lemon cars and people switching to heavier oils. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good point, man. And again, I think what happened there is that somebody looked at specifications and said, oh yeah, this will work, that's good, and had something else sitting on their desk that was more important. I don't know, maybe they had bad Thai food and had to make it to the bathroom. Whatever the case is, something got pushed off of somebody's desk, and I think that's where all those problems are coming from. Kiddis is good point, saying Ford has all the tools. All they got to do is shave down the Cobra Jet and give us a street legal version of it. That'd be kind of cool, actually. G-Rock and saying, well, I was able to pull a 190 60 foot out of my buddy's 2015 and ran the 8th and an 820. Not bad for a stock 5.0. Yeah, definitely not bad on a stock 5.0. Stock tires for sure. Lots of consonants. XD and some change saying, when will the Challenger get its much needed weight loss? The Challenger would own the market if it just had lost a good amount of weight. Can't argue with that. 2022 is now looking like the year where the LX platform will be revised. It'll lose a little bit of weight. How much? I'm not sure. Probably a couple 100 pounds. But for it to lose any more weight, it can't be this big. It has to shrink down. And I think that's where that car would lose its appeal. It's not supposed to be a small car, and it's not really supposed to be super light. And realistically, you could go with lighter weight components on this thing and drag another 100 pounds out of it, even over what I've done to the car. And I still have all my bumper supports and everything else. So there's that to consider. But yeah, there's some areas where you can lighten it up a little bit still. But my hope is that they don't reduce the size of the car, which to me is one of the more endearing aspects of the car, in an effort to try to bring itself down to the level of pony car, that back and forth fight. This car is not, the Mopar is just not that car. It serves a completely different purpose. Rado's got the claps. I like it. Give us some love in here. Mopar man, Challenger owns the power and quickness of muscle cars, even with the weight. Absolutely, it does. Mopar man saying Racer X in the house. Hell yeah. Racer X got the fist bump from Mopar man. Shawnee saying Hemi Tick, also known as having a pushrod motor. Any motor makes a little bit of noise, especially with long tubes. Sounds kind of tough, actually. Doesn't bother me at all. No, that doesn't bother me at all. The main tick that the Ford guys were referring to were the manifold bolts backing out, or in some cases the Mopars, they had a bad run of lifters that were eating camshafts that would make it tick. But at least for the most part, at least so far as I can tell, Dodge is taking care of those as long as they're within their warranty period. They took care of mine anyway. SRT Crazy saying the 1320 has many performance parts borrowed from the Demon and runs 11.7 quarters at 115 and speaks volumes for these Hemi mills. Got the arm flex. Absolutely it does. As a matter of fact, they're real impressive. I'm very impressed with that 1320. In fact, Racer X just did a video comparing his shaker to the 1320. Make sure that you go check that video out if you haven't already seen it. Jeffrey Bender is in, saying, what up, B? I made it in again. I like it, brother. Very good. My buddy B. Mason is the man. Appreciate that. Got the thumbs up. Ken is checking in. What's up, Racer X? Got the fist bumps. I like it. Shawnee's saying, I saw someone ordered a Stripper 320 Scat Pack, making some really, really good stock quarter-mile times. Rumors of 11.5 or 11.6 or so. That is a nice start. I've seen that too, and it is true. Venomous Garage saying that is the problem. In 2013, the GT500 was the most powerful mass-produced V8 and had a 200 mile an hour top speed. Ford couldn't trump that with this car. No, they certainly didn't. That's for sure. Lightning Blue Meanie saying, what up, B. Mason? I think a GT350 with a blower would be better than a GT500. There are quite a few folks that would agree with that. Racer X chiming in with a fist bump. On fire to Kenneth. I like it. Hold up, guys. I got to get me some water. My throat is about to fly out. Hang on just a second. Hang on. I've been drinking so much freaking water lately. I'll turn into a camel or whatever. Starting to grow freaking gills. Reddy's saying, water, where's the beer? Yeah, I'm cutting weight right now, so I cannot imbibe. I typically don't drink that much, though. Used to turn it up quite a bit, though. Racer X got to say, got to keep that throat intact, brother. Damn right, man. These bills don't pay themselves. So getting back to it, guys. I guess in closing, because we're coming up on about 2 hours now. If you missed anything, I know Mopar Man's already said this has been the best live show so far. I'd be inclined to agree. I'm having a ball with this one. Been actually saving up a little bit for this one for a while. One of the things I just want to leave you guys with is, if you see a GT500 running around on the road here in the next 6 months, just understand that that person is really taking a leap of faith. They have spent hard-earned money on that car, and regardless, it doesn't matter how fast the thing is. It doesn't matter how good it looks. At least that guy is a part of the community in that respect, regardless of how bad his decision was. And I would hate to see anybody get disrespected for their choice of buying a GT500. A lot of times guys are just born Ford guys, which is understandable. I myself am a recovering Ford guy. The way I look at it is like this. If you blame and you fault people for their shortcomings, then who you really criticize. And I mean, a lot of times, like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror. A really smart guy from overseas once said, let the guy that doesn't screw up start throwing rocks, or however that goes. That's really where you're at with a GT500. If you see one at the drag strip, don't throw your hazards on at the end of the quarter mile. It's pretty rude when you whack somebody and you do something like that. Unless the guy or gal is just a complete tool, and then just do it in the staging lanes. But no, in all seriousness, man, I'm so pissed about the GT500. I'm bummed out about the fact that Ford doesn't seem to care enough about that car to actually give it a lot of pomp, circumstance, and everything that car deserves. That car has done wonders for this the muscle car community. It probably did a lot to help garner and to help facilitate, I should say, that type of car, the supercharged, the reintroduction of the American muscle car that it brought back, helped, I'm sure, in some way, in shape or form, to bring the Hellcats and the SRTs and the Challengers to light that we have today. Especially the Hellcat, if nothing else. But that's really the main thing, and it just, to me, Ford's done it a disservice. But let me dig in here real quick. SRT Crazy saying, "Yep, Mopar is king of the blacktop." Thumbs up. Oh man, I blasted through some of these. Hang on just a second. Symphonic saying, "I find it funny Ford went 460 horse in the GT to edge the SS by 5. Now the GT500 is 5 more than the ZR1. Even thought the ZR1 would destroy the GT500 in every performance, or even though the GT500 would destroy the GT. ZR1 kicks GT500 ass." By the way, funny you should say that. That has been the case. Corvette has trumped GT500, at least from back in the 60s. It's been like that since the GT500 was released. GT500 never, back in the day, never really got the engine it should have. Should have had the side oiler 427. It was always shackled at 428, but that was just so the thing would act like an automobile and drive around and not just be a race car for the street. Williams saying, "Ford is looking at overall units sold. The Mustang may lose the horsepower war, but corporate bottom line is winning overall sales." Can't argue with that one bit. Take enough soul out of anything and you can make a businessman out of them, right, guys? Artie, let's see, you got the SRT Crazy? Yep, that's one of the ones that I apparently just fast forwarded to a minute ago. Jeffrey Bender saying, "Racer X, can't wait to see the wife at the track again. She is doing great. She is coming along, got the fist bumps. Yeah, she is coming along good. She's progressing well." Jason Willis saying, "Hey B, when will the 6.4 Challenger get an increase in horsepower? It's been at 45 for about 4+ years. I thought it would have increased to 500 plus in 2018 or 19. Man, I don't know. Be on the lookout for something to come sometime around 2021 or 2022. Venomous Garage, I love it, saying, "The GT500 team has no passion when they launch it alongside the new Expedition. Stupidest marketing ever." Cheers on that. Have some oxygenated hydrogen for me. Venomous Garage saying, "ZR1 has no mention these days." Hang on. What's this thing doing? That car is basically a sleeper beast. Yeah, if you don't know what you're up against, they will put a sting on you. Well, guys, listen, we're coming up on 2 hours. My voice is shot. I'll be giving presentations tomorrow, so I've got to have at least some semblance of a throat in the morning. Oh, wait a minute. James is asking, what do you think went wrong with the Dodge Dart? It wasn't rear-wheel drive, wasn't all-wheel drive. I don't think it was all-wheel drive. Anyway, I didn't pay much attention to it after it was just a front-wheel drive car that didn't get enough hot rod stuff. You guys know I love front-wheel drive stuff, but I don't know. I'll tell you what, we'll get into that on the next live chat. This one's all about the GT500 tonight, brother. Venomous Garage checking out, saying, have a wonderful night. Thanks for the session. Thank you guys very much. Oh, Chaos of the Unicorns checking in late. Hang on. Saying, is it just me that heard the hype for the GT500 die out faster than a bad fart in the wind? Listen, man, I'll tell you something. It was dry, too, because it didn't even linger after the fact. Didn't have to wash it out either because people just forgot all about it. Redu's checking in, saying adios. You guys have a great one. Happy Friday Eve coming into this weekend. I hope y'all have a great one. And that is a wrap on this one. Y'all have a great one. Adios.